requiring chain restaurants to tell you how good for you or bad for you their food is.
So you look at me when you say bad for you. Those new regulations went into effect this week. Joining us to talk a little bit more about what we should be paying attention to with these numbers is our medical expert, Dr. Mandira Mehra with SSM Health. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'll be the naysayer here. Why do I want to know this? I mean, I'm not going to a fast food restaurant thinking, oh, I'm going to eat really healthy. Why do I need to know this there in front of me?
I feel like it's taking all the fun out of ordering maybe that double cheeseburger or that Chipotle,
Thank you.
That size food. But here's the problem, Adam, and here's why we care, Danica, is 50% of the population is obese in America, and this is not something to be proud of. 70% of us are overweight or obese, so this is really an epidemic. We're talking about saving lives here, not just really taking the fun out of eating. So there's a push now from the FDA that says maybe people can make better informed decisions if we know exactly what we're eating. Something like 1/3 of our caloric intake is actually done outside of the home. So a lot of people say, well, when I'm cooking at home, I know exactly what I'm using, I know exactly how many calories, but it's not fair because when I'm eating out, how many calories are really in that margarita? People don't realize it's close to 300. How many calories in a glass of beer? Maybe close to 200. Pina colada, 600. I mean, we're talking maybe a meal's worth in a drink.
Do you sense that, I mean, from your experience as a doctor, that people don't know this when they go? I mean, like, don't people intuitively know
certain things are bad? Sure.
Right.
I think, like you said,
and they're still making the choice to consume it.
To some effect, you say, wow, that funnel cake is not going to be good as a cup of broccoli, for sure. But a lot of people will say, wow, I just had no idea those 2 pina coladas I had were 1,200 calories. That's almost your daily calorie intake. You know, the guidelines are about 1,500 to 2,000 calories. So people will often say, I had no idea. So it's a hope. The studies, you're right, Adam, are mixed. That there's really no great evidence that when people know that, we're making better decisions. But at least this is a first great step.
I would say on this shift, 2 pina coladas, I'd be under the desk, let alone worried about the so much sleep disorder. Anyhow, I digress.
So, Dr. Mehra, we've talked a lot with you about the effects of, social media, computers, screens, but there was a new study that shows that all of that is having an effect on how lonely our young people in this country are feeling. So we're connected but disconnected? How does all of this work?
That's the headline here, really, is we have so many ways to be connected now. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, I mean, you name it. But we're the most disconnected generation. So we're talking about that 18 to 22-year-old population. They ranked amongst the loneliest. They said they felt the most lonely either always or sometimes close to or almost 50% of the time. And then it went down from there. So then the next generation was the millennial generation, very close to there. Then we had the baby boomer generation. The least lonely generation was over 72. And they're the least technological generation. And we don't mean that in a bad way, but what we mean is they go out and they have that cup of coffee. They have those meaningful relationships. Maybe they actually have 5 to 10 really good friends. It's not about 10,000 friends on Facebook, for example. So this is not to be anti-social media because there wasn't actually a correlation between the more social media friends, the more lonely. But it does say something about the generation and, basically that whole stigma about, are we really connected? Are we having meaningful interactions? Things like diabetes, heart conditions, poor health are always linked to more loneliness. So, of course, this is also a push to say, get out there, be more healthy. We talk about running, joining clubs, walking the dog, that kind of thing. Also, living with someone else increased the likelihood that you would not be lonely. So Americans that lived alone did report higher rates of loneliness.
Face-to-face interaction, so important.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Dr. Mehra, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.